A damp, chilly day outside, but comfortable inside with the roof closed as we get ready for Jacksonville and Houston. The two head coaches, 47-year-old Gus Bradley, always so positive despite the very difficult season in his first year, trying to turn things around in Jacksonville. And Gary Kubiak still recovering from the mini stroke. He told us he tried to get the doctors to let him back on the sidelines this week, but they felt it was still too early. So once again, he'll run things in the coaches' booth upstairs. Jacksonville won the toss. They'll receive. That's Jordan Todman. He's part of a special teams unit that actually has been pretty good this season. Jacksonville ranked in the top 10 in 13 special teams categories this season. Randy Bullock boots it, and we are underway here in Houston. Todman for the yard deep. Brings it out to about the 25. Chad Henne brings out the Jacksonville offense once again, making his 8th start of the season, taking over despite the fact that Blaine Gabbert has been healthy. Gus Bradley feels like he's got the better command of the offense. He's thrown for almost 1,900 yards with 4 touchdowns and 9 interceptions.
One reason Chad Henne is in the game for Blaine Gabbert is his pocket presence. He has the ability to stand in the pocket, survey the field, and take the hit and still deliver the pass.
Just underway here in Houston. Henne sacked on the first play. Swarmed under. Earl Mitchell was the first one to get there.
Right down inside, you'll see right over the top. I mean, that is just a jailbreak to begin the game. Earl Mitchell and Antonio Smith from the defensive tackle positions coming right up the center of the pocket and hitting Chad Henne on the first play from scrimmage. That is not a good sign.
A loss of 7. 2nd and 17 out to Maurice Jones-Drew with some running room. And a nice play on 2nd and long, and they will have a very makeable yardage for a first down. That was good for 15 yards. Up front, Jacksonville on their 3rd starting left tackle in Cameron Bradfield. Cecil Shorts leads the Jaguars with 50 catches. Vocal this week about getting more looks. They're going to try to find ways to get him free against Jonathan Joseph in this aggressive Houston secondary. On 3rd down, they swing it out to Ace Sanders, and he's out of bounds right near the marker.
Yeah, you can look after what happened on the first play from scrimmage. The Jacksonville Jaguars immediately go to moving Chad Henne out of the pocket, throwing the screen on 2nd down to take advantage of that aggressive pass rush, and then getting Henne out of the way of that pass rush and getting a quick pass to Ace Sanders. Already Jacksonville is having to deal with this aggressive front 4 of Houston.
They get a first down. The Jaguars have scored on their opening possessions, getting into the end zone in each of their last 2 games. Henne, center of the field, incomplete. Intended for Kerry Taylor, signed from the Arizona practice squad earlier this month. Here's the Texans defense, led by the league's reigning defensive player of the year, J.J. Watt, who's having another outstanding season. Other than Brian Cushing, who's on IR, the Texans have been getting healthy at linebacker. Joe Mays back this week on the inside, and in the secondary, Bryce McCain starts again at cornerback with Kareem Jackson still out, not quite ready to return. 2nd and 10 after the incomplete pass. Henne with time, checks it down to Maurice Jones-Drew, who's hammered right at the 40-yard line. Brandon Harris was the first one there.
Yeah, Jacksonville coming out throwing the football with Henne right in the face of that defense. Now what Houston does a lot is they play man-to-man coverage in the secondary. You see there, defensive coordinator Wade Phillips, he has a lot of confidence in his defensive backs, and he can because that pass rush is so effective. If the ball doesn't come out on time out of Chad Henne's hand, Wade Phillips knows he's going to get a sack. So his defensive backs can play extremely aggressive on the outside.
So 3rd and a long 4. Henne from the gun. They bring extra pressure. The slant to Sanders, who has lots of room. Ace Sanders with a big play down inside the 10. Brandon Harris finally brought him down.
Jacksonville runs what really is basically a red zone. They're going to get the defenders to bump into each other and get confused. And sure enough, the Texans try to switch the coverage, which is a no-no on a quick slant, quick out cop operation. You've got to stay very close to the receivers. You can't switch that. That's like a red zone play right out in the middle of the field.
And it was Harris who got out of position, and Sanders has got some speed. He showed it there. Shorts near the goal line, but he didn't get in.
That looked like a touchdown from up here. Shorts extended the football past the pylon. We'll see if he stays in bounds as he comes out. Look after this replay for Jacksonville to throw the red challenge flag. He's inbounds, and right there, he broke the plane. That is a touchdown.
No challenge nor review as they snap the ball and still unable to get it in and maybe lost a little ground.
Jacksonville should have taken their time. Look at Cecil Shorts right there to me. No, the ball does not get over the line. The ball does not get over the line. I'll tell you what, I would have thrown the challenge flag, and rightfully so. Jacksonville decided not to do that. From this angle right there, it looked like it got over. Jacksonville tried to quick snap and take advantage of the defense that's been put on its heels here early, and they tried to sneak it across and lost yardage.
And Jacksonville will take a timeout, facing 3rd and goal from the 1.
And I thought that was a touchdown, and Gus Bradley didn't, and neither did his coaches upstairs, and rightfully so. I don't think they would have won that challenge, and then they did the right thing. Chad Henne getting up on the line very quickly and trying to catch that defense. Here's a look from up top as Shorts does the right thing, tries to get it there. He just didn't get in. Great effort by Cecil Shorts, and then Jacksonville does the right thing, quickly coming to the line. They just couldn't punch it in. Great job by the Texans to bounce back, because I'll tell you what, Jacksonville has hit them right in the mouth on their first series.
The big play, a 51-yard slant pass to Ace Sanders, the rookie. High formation, 3rd and goal. Henne. And that did not fool the Texans.
Merciless blew this play up. He was all over Henne. Merciless, a great athlete out of Illinois, comes up. He does not bite on the play fake. Right here with his hand on the ground. He sees the play go the other way, but great discipline, of course, as you'd expect from a top defense. Merciless sees the bootleg coming right at him, and what an athletic play to get up the field and force the incompletion.
And when you are 1 and 9, you go for these 4th down situations. 4th and goal. Maurice Jones-Drew. Did he get it in? Yes, touchdown Jacksonville. And for a 3rd straight week, the Jacksonville Jaguars have scored on their opening possession.
I was asked on that other pregame show today by Adam Shine if Maurice Jones-Drew would score a touchdown against these Texans, and I said if he did, it was going to be a 1-yard run. And on the first series, he comes down and finishes off the drive without question. What a sensational opening series for Jacksonville.
3rd straight game with a touchdown for Maurice Jones-Drew. Scobie on to try the extra point. Boots it through, and the Jacksonville Jaguars march it down the field on their opening possession. 7-0 Jaguars. Maurice Jones-Drew finds the end zone to cap a 10-play, 75-yard drive, but Jacksonville came out throwing on the first 7 plays of that drive before they ran the football.
You mentioned in the open, these two teams played here last year. It was a shootout. Didn't expect it today, but it may turn out that way again.
Sean Martin from 5 yards deep. Upended just short of the 20. Gary Kubiak wasted no time in naming Case Keenum the starter early in the week. Young man who grew up a coach's son in West Texas. Played his college football down the road at the University of Houston, making his 5th start today. And his numbers have been good. He's thrown for close to 1,000 yards with 8 touchdowns and just 1 interception. He was pulled late in the third quarter last week because Gary Kubiak said he wanted to do some different things with the offense and didn't want to put his young quarterback in a position that he might not have been prepared for. They toss it back to Ben Tate, who can't get the edge. And we're going to get a horse collar by Tyson Alualu.
Yeah, Alualu does a nice job
Personal
up until
foul. Defense number 93, a horse collar tackle, 15 yards, automatic first down.
Alualu does a great job from the defensive end spot of chasing this play down, but as you can see, you got to find a handle somewhere, and that's, you know, they outlawed that for a reason. That's dangerous. It's very easy to grab that as a defender and pull the guy down, but it's also an easy way to hurt a player pretty badly.
Alualu moved to the outside this season after playing inside at defensive tackle in his first 3 years in the league. So first and 10 after the penalty. Keenum. DeAndre Hopkins bobbled the football, but able to finally bring it in at the 40. Houston offensive line includes 3 Pro Bowlers. Dwayne Brown at left tackle struggled at times early in the season, but back playing well. The backs and receivers, both Andre Johnson and Garrett Graham, over 100 yards last week. Graham with 7 catches for a tight end franchise record, 136 yards and a touchdown. Second down from the 40. Off left tackle, Tate. Paul Posluszny made the stop. The Jacksonville defense, Jason Babin, former #1 pick by the Texans, coming out of Western Michigan. The linebackers, we just saw Paul Posluszny missed last week with a concussion, but cleared to play back in the middle this week. 3 of the 4 starters in the secondary are rookies. The only veteran there is Alan Ball, who spent last year playing corner here in Houston. First down for the Texans on their first possession. Plenty of time for Keenum. Now he takes off. Gets it down to Tate, who's driven out of bounds at about the 47-yard line by Jonathan Cyprien.
You know, that's exactly why Case Keenum has been a breath of fresh air. This play, as you'll see, the coverage out here. Gratz working against Hopkins. Good coverage there. And on the other side, Andre Johnson, a little push off there, gets some separation, but he was doubled underneath by the linebacker. Case Keenum keeps it alive and brings up a second and very manageable, stays on schedule and down in distance.
Second and 6. Up the middle, faking the end around, and that's going to lose a yard or 2. Posluszny was not fooled, stayed home, good penetration. Stops Tate for a loss.
Well, that's, you can tell there as Paul Posluszny anticipated that play. That's film study all over Posluszny, who has been on the sidelines with a concussion, back in the game today, obviously showing the experience that makes him really their key linchpin defensive player.
The Texans have turned the ball over on their opening possession in 4 of their 10 games this year. They gave it to the Raiders in 2 of their first 3 possessions last week. Both resulted in short drives for touchdowns. On third down, Keenum chased and sacked. Andre Branch showing great quickness.
Yeah, that's a young quarterback just trying to do a little too much on that play. Instead of peeling and running to his right, he would have been better off.
Offense number 75 is declined. Fourth down.
Needing to step up in the pocket a little quicker than he did.
Penalty obviously declined.
Right here's where the sack's going to come from. Watch, he's going to come all the way across, and that's what happens in a pass rush. Jacksonville very good at deceiving offensive lines into not exactly knowing where the 4 guys are going to come from. They don't send more people very often, but they do a lot of deception.
Leffler on 4th and 28. Ace Sanders calls for the fair catch and makes it at about the 33-yard line. 42-yard punt. Big sack for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who scored on their opening possession. They lead it 7-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. T. Rowe Price, understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence. and by the redesigned Honda Odyssey. Honda, start something special.
The Jaguars drove 75 yards in their first possession. First and 10, Maurice Jones-Drew swarmed under, losing a couple of yards. Gerald Sharpton led the charge. He's been all over the field for the Texans, has 34 tackles over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that last running play we saw in the first drive, Jacksonville came out, they had 3 runs, one of which was a sack, which will technically go down as a run. But the only 2 times they ran in their first drive was the quarterback sneak and the 1-yard run by Maurice Jones-Drew. I think it's very surprising they come out throwing the football.
Play action from Henne on 2nd and 12. Checks it down to Maurice Jones-Drew, makes the first man miss. Takes it out across the 40 to the 42. Opening possession. They threw in the first 7 snaps. This was the big one, the slant to Ace Sanders, the rookie. That was good for 51 yards. And then on 4th and goal from the 1, Maurice Jones-Drew taking it into the end zone. Despite their record, Jaguars have been playing hard for Gus Bradley. 3rd and 2. From the gun, here comes the blitz. Gets rid of it, another first down. Cecil Shorts into Houston territory, down to the 42. Shiloh Ko made the stop, a gain of 16 yards.
Well, the Texans came with a lot of pressure right up the middle, and Chad Henne stood in the pocket and made the play. You see there, this is what Cecil Shorts in the news. He was very disappointed that he only had 2 catches the last 2 games.
Jordan Todman, who checked in, back to the line of scrimmage.
And you see there, the last 2 games, teams have really started to focus on Cecil Shorts. He's their last guy standing in their wide receiver core that's really been proven. And teams are starting to do their best to take him away. A lot like they have with Maurice Jones-Drew in the running game.
Had a breakthrough season last year, fell just short of a 1,000-yard performance. 2nd and 10, empty backfield. 3 receivers at the top of your screen. And we may have a false start. Might carry our referee.
False start, offense number 65. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Will Rackley, who missed last week with a concussion, moving a little early.
Right there. And you'll see just a hair early. It was an easy call, and never know what could have happened there on a 1st and 10 or 2nd and 10 play for Jacksonville.
Crowd comes to life here at Reliant Stadium. 2nd and 15 for Jacksonville. Henne going deep. Cecil Shorts, but he may have been out of bounds.
Yeah, on that 2nd and 15 play, Texans decide not to bring any pressure. They only rush 4 guys and drop coverage off into the secondary. Jonathan Joseph, who truly is a shutdown corner, makes that such a tight throw for Chad Henne. That's an almost great play for Jacksonville, but it counts as a long foul ball. It doesn't matter.
Terrific coverage from Joseph, who used that sideline wisely, the 2-time Pro Bowler, one of the league's best cover corners. So 3rd and long for Jacksonville, 3rd and 15. Henne underneath the screen, and down goes Maurice Jones-Drew.
Wow, Texans are doing all kinds of things defensively with their front, and on that play, they only rush 3 of these 4 guys that have their hand on the ground. Only 3 of them will come this time. They've rushed 6, 4, and now 3 on consecutive plays, really doing their best to confuse the offensive line of Jacksonville, and it's working.
Brian Anger continuing to punt well for Jacksonville after setting an NFL rookie record last season. Angles this one, fair catch made at about the 17-yard line by Keyshawn Martin. Case Keenum back to work when we return. Last week, Case Keenum was benched for Matt Schaub late in the 3rd quarter when the Texans fell behind 28-17. Schaub drove the Texans to the Raider 2 late in the 4th quarter, down 28-23, but the drive stalled. He couldn't connect with Andre Johnson on 4th down. The Texans lost 28-23, and Andre Johnson and Matt Schaub got into a heated exchange on the sideline. They patched it up a short time later in the locker room, but that was a very controversial decision here in Houston. But Keenum, early in the week, named the starter once again. Dennis Johnson is the lone setback. Play action. Keenum rolling out, slings it, and incomplete. That was intended for Ryan Griffin, who took a shot.
Yeah, this is a really nice play-action fake, but you'll watch as Griffin comes across. He's going to take a shot at the end of it, but it's right where it needs to be, low. Dwayne Gratz hits him low and across his body, doesn't lead with the helmet, does it exactly right, and causes the incompletion. Well covered and well defended by Jacksonville.
Gratz came back in week 7 after missing more than a month with a high ankle sprain. 2nd and 10 for the Texans. Keenum into the flat to Tate. And brought down hard at about the 24 by Gratz.
You talk about the quarterback controversy that happened last week. Matt Schaub came in, and Gary Kubiak thought they were going to have to start running parts of their offense that Case Keenum was not familiar with. But a lot of people, and this is why the move was questioned, these numbers are very comparable to what Case Keenum had done the entire game. So the fans here in Houston said, why are we trading in the midstream when the quarterback you brought in had the same kind of effect?
Empty backfield, 3rd and 3 for Houston. They trail 7-0. Out route incomplete, intended for Andre Johnson. And now let's check in with the fellows in New York. JB and Boomer for an update.
Packers trying to stay relevant without Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, Steve and Bill, take a look at this move by Scott Tolzien, the 3rd-string quarterback by the Packers. Makes a nice move there. I pulled the hamstring watching this one right here. Packers take the lead on the Vikings 7-0.
Bill McAtee and Steve Tasker.
Thank you, guys. A lot of 3rd-string quarterbacks getting opportunities this year. Sanders calls for the fair catch and makes it at about the 30-yard line. A 46-yard punt. Chad Henne and the Jaguars offense will take the field when we return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx One Rate. Simple flat rate shipping with the reliability of FedEx. And by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side.
Jacksonville 1st and 10 from their own 30. Maurice Jones-Drew. A bit of a crease up the middle, but that closed quickly. Till that play, both teams were in negative territory in terms of rushing yards. Jacksonville was -1. Now in plus territory after that short gain. The Texans -2 yards rushing. 2nd and 8. High formation. Henne with time, but then the pocket collapses and had to get rid of it a little early. Falfoa, the intended receiver, the fullback.
Well, as we saw early on from the middle of the defense, this time it comes from the outside as Merciless and J.J. Watt converge on Henne. And like we have said, if the ball doesn't come out on time, Henne's going to be on the ground. So he has to get rid of the football or he's going to be giving up negative plays, and Jacksonville cannot afford negative plays. That was not completely a loss for Jacksonville. It brings up a 3rd and 8 instead of a 3rd and 14.
Merciless, a good young linebacker, 1st-round pick out of Illinois last year. So 3rd and long for the Jaguars. 3rd and 8. Henne, as they come in the blitz, gets rid of it. That's caught for a 1st down, and a late flag. Cecil Shorts made the catch.
Jonathan Joseph made contact, and it was up high. Jonathan Joseph having to take a knee and gather himself. That was a pretty good collision coming out. I don't think either player was particularly prepared for it, and it looked like Joseph was actually going to try and play the ball and ended up hitting Cecil Shorts really high, which is why I believe the flag came in. I don't think this was actually targeting by Joseph. I think this was just one of those plays where both players, see, Joseph kind of accepts the hit rather than delivering it. He was kind of standing still and kind of shuffled up to Shores. That didn't seem like a very tough collision at all.
Hit him with the right shoulder.
Yeah, his head was high, but it was off to the side.
There's no foul for unnecessary roughness against the defensive receiver.
And they wisely pick up the flag. A good call.
We don't say it enough, but that's a good spot to pick that flag up. As much protection as they're giving players these days, that's one spot where they were right to let him play. Joseph catches him on the right shoulder, and he didn't deliver a blow. He merely accepted the momentum of the receiver. Great no call.
Joseph on the sideline. Play action. Henne. They're going to try to go deep, but that overthrows everybody. The intended receiver was Ace Sanders, well covered by Bryce McCain. Started today at cornerback with Kareem Jackson still out with that rib fracture.
Now, I like the fact that Jacksonville went down the field, but this ball with the pass rush of the Texans, and this is why it's such a low percentage. You see there's the coverage there with McCain right on Sanders with KO coming over. This ball has to be thrown so early in that route by Henne. There's really hardly any chance it can be complete and thrown to the right spot.
Second and 10, they toss it back. Todman gets to the edge, makes a nice move and driven out of bounds at midfield by Darryl Sharpton. Jordan Todman, former 6th-round pick by the Chargers, signed with Jacksonville late last season after spending time in Minnesota, and he has gotten some playing time this season.
And they need more from him as well, and the rest of their running backs to take some pressure off Maurice Jones-Drew, particularly in plays like that coming out of the backfield.
3rd and 3. From the gun, empty backfield. Houston rushes 4. They run the slant, incomplete. And Kerry Taylor looking for a flag but won't get one.
Chad Henne's unhappy about it too, as he's right there as Taylor's going to take the quick slant. Great move to the inside, and yeah, I think that Harris just reaches out and crosses his chest with his arm to keep him from getting inside and then pulls himself across. That could very well have been a flag.
Sean Martin set a franchise record with an 87-yard punt return for a touchdown last week. Able to keep his feet and finally slides down and around the 16-yard line. A 36-yard punt, a 2-yard return, 7-0 Jacksonville. We're back. The Texans have been pinned back all day, all 3 possessions starting inside their own 20-yard line. Just past the 15, they keep it on the ground. Tate playing with broken ribs since the Chiefs game last month. Let's take a look at this Texan offense compared to a year ago.
Yeah, a year ago you can see the giveaways, they were sick. Now they're 24th, and of course that affects the points per game, and those are the reasons why they go from 2 to 8. Everything else is pretty much the same. Their star players are still playing extremely well, but there's been a handful of plays over the course of this season that has turned a team that won 13 games last year into a team that has only won 2 thus far.
2nd and 7 from the 19. Tate has to bring it back. Brought down at the 22 by Josh Evans, who took over the starting job at free safety when Dwight Lowry went out with a concussion. Lowry has since been released, and Evans is the starter. Nearing the end of the first quarter. 3rd and 4 for the Texans. Keenum. Batted away, incomplete. And the clock stops. 2 seconds left in the quarter.
Derek Marks is able to do that a la J.J. Watt. No question, that's his. You can defend a pass any way you can find a way, and Derek Marks gets up off the ground and whacks that ball right down to the turf, forcing the punt. That's becoming more and more part of every defensive lineman's repertoire, and led by J.J. Watt and the Texans.
Leckler. Sanders makes the fair catch at the 25-yard line as we have reached the end of the first quarter. A 53-yard punt. Some pretty shocking numbers in that first quarter. Only 4 total yards on offense for the Houston Texans. 121 for Jacksonville. They faked the end around, and Henny is sacked. And that fooled no one. Merciless was all over it.
Well, Jacksonville is not going to be able to run this type of play. It's just too slow developing. They fake the run here. They fake the end around. By the time all the fakes and ball handling is finished, the pass rush devours Chad Henne. That type of play works at some point, but not against this Texans front.
Second sack for the Texans. So second and 16. Here they come in a blitz. Henne threw it into the ground, and let's see if we get intentional grounding as the outside the tackle box. Texans picking up and running to the end zone, and now we have a flag.
That's right, and that's a good call by Mike Carey. That was a definite throwaway by Chad Henne in the tackle box, and he just threw it in the ground. And it was a desperation play because he was going down with Merciless once again. And I'll tell you, Merciless is having a fantastic first half for the Texans.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 7. Throwing the ball without a receiver in the area. That's half the distance to the goal. Loss of down. Third down.
You talk about the little things that make it happen. Watch the snap. It all starts with a low snap and then to try a slight ball fake, but Merciless is unblocked, and he is too fast to leave unblocked on a play fake, and particularly a screen pass as this was developing to be. Jacksonville has got to know the ball's got to be out of Henne's hand or he's going to be on the ground. We've said it again and again.
Merciless set a franchise rookie record with 6 sacks last season. Now 5.5 this year. 3rd and 25 for the Jaguars. Double screen, and that goes nowhere. Cecil Shorts.
Yeah, the ultimate conservative play to get the ball out of the hand. And they know there's just no way they're going to pick this up. So just try and get some room, try and change some field position. But they lost 20 yards on that series. And the Texan defense is starting to find its rhythm against this offense.
Brandon Harris was all over that angle from his own end zone. The Texans should have pretty good field position. Martin runs into his own man and then out of bounds at midfield. $55-yard punt, a 12-yard return. Good field position for Case Keenum and this Texan offense.
Well, there it is. There's the Texans. They've had the most interception, the pick sixes, the fumble return for touchdowns by their opponents, special teams points allowed, penalty yards. I mean, it goes on and on. These are the kind of things that turn a 13-win season team into a 2-win team the next year. They just shoot themselves in the foot. They have no one to blame but themselves, really.
Dennis Johnson, the rookie out of Arkansas, is alone in the backfield. Keenum, 3-step drop. Rolls it out, gets rid of it to Johnson, who's into Jacksonville territory, turning the legs and brought down at the 46. Jaguars trying to take advantage of a Texan team that has given up a number of big plays. 8 returns for touchdowns allowed by Houston. That is really, Steve, a remarkable number through 10 weeks of the season. 5 of those were pick sixes.
And on that play, Case Keenum moving out of the pocket once again, sliding away from the pressure. I think one thing he's got to remember, he's got the athletic ability to buy time. He needs to use all the time he has and extend the play even further.
Johnson stays in the game as the deep back. Formation. Left tackle, nice hole. Down to the 42. Posluszny made the stop back after missing last week with a concussion. Tends to get overlooked because of Jacksonville's struggles, but he is working on 5 straight seasons of 100-plus tackles and has led the Jaguars in tackles every year since he came in from Buffalo.
Yeah, they're happy to have him back. He gives them a steadying influence in the middle of that defense. great tackler, and that's one of the things about both these defenses when they play their best. The first guy to the football makes the tackle. You rarely see yards after contact, particularly against Texans, but also lately against the Jaguars defense.
3rd and 3. Keenum thrust from the pocket and able to get rid of it outside the tackle, so that will not be intentional grounding, but it will bring up 4th down. Great pursuit by Ryan Davis, brought up a couple of weeks ago from the practice squad in his first year out of Bethune-Cookman.
Well, once again, Keenum has to vacate the pocket, getting chased. Only a 4-man rush as he finally gets rid of the football. Davis trying to get his hands on him. Keenum does a nice job just unloading the football and giving his team a chance to punt it away.
And it was Andre Branch who had the initial pressure that forced him from the pocket. Sanders waiting the Leckler punt, makes a fair catch at the 14-yard line. This is 29 yards. Another nice series from the Jacksonville defense. Jaguars lead at 7-0. Jacksonville scored on a 75-yard drive on their opening possession. They lead at 7-0 as they take over 1st and 10 from their own 15. Maurice Jones-Drew, nice hole on the left side from Mojo. Jones-Drew with a big gain into Houston territory. KO finally made the stop. 44 yards.
This play is so well blocked up front. Watch Tafoa lead Maurice Jones-Drew, and there's nobody for him to even engage. As the hole opens up, they both run in tandem. Finally, they get down the field, and there's somebody for the fullback to block. Well blocked up front.
Jones-Drew again. Hammering up the middle, down to the 38-yard line. Maurice Jones-Drew, the 3-time Pro Bowler, led the league in rushing 2 years ago. Still without a 100-yard game this season.
Look at these guys, obviously, in the AFC South have had some pretty good years and games against these Texans over the course of their career. Maurice Jones-Drew, no different.
He came in averaging 2 and 1.6 yards a carry over the last 2 games. 2nd and 7. Henne gets rid of it. That's caught by Mercedes Lewis. Another 1st down to the 21. Joe Mays made the stop after a gain of 17 yards.
Mercedes Lewis beginning the year with a calf injury. Took him forever to get healthy, and when he did, he lasted 3 plays in the game. He came back, hurt himself again, and had to leave the game and leave the roster for another couple of weeks, or at least was injured for another couple of weeks. Finally getting back to the Pro Bowl form that Jacksonville so desperately needs him to be.
In his 8th year out of UCLA, 1st-round pick in 2006. So 1st down from the 20. Todman trying to get to the edge, and he will be stopped for a loss. Fantasy football fans get a fresh start with Player Challenge, a 4-week game that now includes even bigger cash prizes. See rules and sign up at cbssports.com/challenge. These fans have been through a lot with this team, expecting and hoping that they were going to be able to make a run to the Super Bowl. But after those first 2 wins, it has been a struggle every week. 2nd and 11. Todman still on his feet. Makes his way down inside the 15.
And one of the things you put Todman in the game, I'll tell you why they put Todman in the game. Maurice Jones-Drew busted one for about 50 yards and gave it to him again. He needs a rest. And they want to get Todman some carries. Plus, as you saw there, he's a completely different runner than Maurice Jones-Drew. He made a couple of guys miss with lateral movement. Maurice Jones-Drew isn't interested in making guys miss. He's knocking them over. A great complimentary back is Todman.
Sanders, the motion man on 3rd and 4. 3 receivers to the left. They get it out to Sanders. He's going to be short of the 1st down. Jonathan Joseph back in the game, and he closed quickly.
And this will bring on Scobie to kick the field goal.
Josh Scobie had been perfect this season until he missed a 60-yarder last week at the end of the first half. Had the distance, but just missed wide left. So comes in today 12 of 13 with a long of 53.
62 of 64 in his career inside 30 yards. This from 31.
He boots it through, and the Jacksonville Jaguars extend their lead with 7:57 left to go in the half. Scobie with the field goal, 10-0 Jacksonville.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the new Intel-powered 2-in-1s. Intel, look inside. Corona, who invites you to find your beach this football season. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
10-0 Jacksonville, the 23rd meeting between these two rivals in the AFC South. Houston leads the series 13-9. They've won the last 5. The Jaguars have not beaten the Texans since Week 10 of 2010. Scobie with a line drive kick into the corner of the end zone, and they'll bring it out to the 20. 7:57 left to go in the half. It's Keenum and the Texans back to work on offense when we return. Houston with virtually no offense here in the first half so far. 189 for Jacksonville, only 11 total yards for the Texans. They take over 1st and 10 from their own 20. And Tate back in the game, the lone setback. Keenum on the stick drop, slings it in the seam, incomplete. Andre Johnson extended for it, but couldn't bring it in. Knocked away.
Yeah, at this early going, as Andre Johnson's going to run the deep in route. To this point, he has been conspicuous in his absence, and that is a good hit by Guy coming in from the safety spot. It does it exactly right. Hits him with the side of his body, doesn't target the head, goes high enough to knock the ball away, but not so high as to cause injury to Johnson. Knocked the ball away, perfectly played by the safety on the deep in route.
This Jacksonville defense continuing to play well. Winston Guy played for Gus Bradley back in Seattle. So 2nd and 10, pressure again, and incomplete. He was trying to set up the screen to Tate, but Posluszny was in there in a hurry.
And if you're wondering why Posluszny got there, it's a stunt where Jacksonville once again only brings 4 guys, and one of them is not one of the down linemen. Posluszny comes from the middle linebacker spot, something they have not shown yet today, and got to Keenum. This offensive line for Houston, really, you can know that there's only going to be 4 guys at any one time rushing for Jacksonville. That's their philosophy. But which 4 it is something they've got to sort through every snap.
3rd and 10. Here they come on the blitz. Keenum able to get rid of it, but great coverage and incomplete. Pass was intended for Garrett Graham, the tight end, who had a big week last week.
And this on a 3rd and 10. This is the only type of down where Jacksonville does bring extra people. They did it there, and once again, Andre Branch pummeling Keenum in the pocket, and Cyprian, the great young safety, making the play.
So Leckler, Sanders able to keep his feet, but then brought down at the 40. 7:27 left to go. It has been a good performance from the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lead at 10-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by your next truck, Ford F-150. And by K Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K.
When these two teams played about this time last year in Week 11, the Texans were heavy favorites. They had to go late into overtime to win a game that produced over 1,100 yards of total offense and 9 passing touchdowns. Different story today, especially for the Texans. Henny out into the flat. Maurice Jones-Drew, and he's got a first down for Jacksonville. Bryce McCain drove him out of bounds. Well, with NFL Mobile, you can get live video access to exclusive premium content on your smartphone. Call ** NFL to download, or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. Message and data rates may apply. First and 10. Jones-Drew lowers his shoulder. For a couple of tough yards inside.
Every yard counts, even and particularly for a team like Jacksonville. If they can continue to hand the football off to Maurice Jones-Drew, that defense will have to continue to play stout up front, and it will take the heat off of Henny when they play action pass. To this point, no question, the Houston defensive front has been all over him, but those runs and the quick pass to Jones-Drew on first down is going to make the difference.
Mojo nearing 100 yards of total offense from scrimmage. Todman able to pick his way and keep his feet and make something out of nothing as he gets it down inside the 40.
You can see there why Todman is such a complimentary back to Maurice Jones-Drew. Now it's going to be right here, and he's going to get caught up in the traffic, and he almost gets tackled by Merciless on his back, but he does manage to break that and get to the outside and make a pretty good play out of it. Brings up a 3rd and 3. But even at the end of that play, you see how he tries to avoid the contact rather than take it on. That is the exact opposite of what the Texans see in Mojo.
Jones-Drew back in the game, stays in to protect, but sacked. J.J. Watt.
Well, there it happens, and that was a fast sack by Watt. He's going to come from right here, right up inside as the stunt happens. And he just absolutely runs right by Pastor, the right tackle, and that's what the Jacksonville Jaguars were afraid of before this game started. J.J. Watt getting singled up and just running right to the quarterback.
Anger puts it away, end over end. And let's see if he went into the end zone. Yes, he did. Unable to bring it back, come back out and down it at the 1.
Yeah, he did not reestablish. He's got to get out and get out of the end zone completely. You see there, his last foot was right there on the line. You can see the little turf that he threw up on the paint. You got to reestablish completely out of the end zone before you're allowed to touch that football.
Team who was in the end zone and did not reestablish in the field of play when he touched the ball, then makes it a touchback. First down.
So they'll bring it out to the 20. 5:04 left to go in the half.
And you know, it's a special teams play, but that's 2 first downs that the Texans do not have to get now because of that down punt.
J.J. Watt, another outstanding season, the reigning defensive player of the year. And we're going to have a challenge from the Jacksonville sideline on whether or not position outside of the end zone had been reestablished. Gus Bradley talking it over with Mike Carey and his crew.
You'll watch, he's got to be out of the end zone with both feet established. You watch his right foot there is on the line when he touches the ball up high. There's no question it was close. And Jacksonville is going to, and that's how big that field position is. And Gus Bradley, if he feels he can win, that is a good challenge. We'll see if it pays off. Caldwell.
Demetrius McCray, who ended up downing the ball. Let's take another look, Steve.
Well, his foot is on the line there, and he's touching the ball there, and that's all you need to see. It was very close, no question, but even so, as this play develops, it looks like he touches the football, you know, when his foot's out. Both feet have to be on the ground in the field of play, then he can touch the football.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The kicking team member did not get reestablished in the field of play with either foot. Jacksonville is charged with their first team timeout.
So Jacksonville with one timeout remaining here in this opening half.
Jacksonville continually has improved, particularly on their special teams. We talked to their general manager, Dave Caldwell, before the game. They have 13 new players that were not on their roster opening day, and most of them are just here to play special teams. They feel they can really improve their roster by going that route.
They made 206 roster moves heading into this week since Dave Caldwell took over as the GM. So churning the lower third of that roster, trying to find some guys who can play. Left side, nice pickup on first down for Dennis Johnson. The rookie who spent the preseason with the Texans and signed by Cleveland. Texans signed him off the Browns practice squad late last month.
In week 9, he came in, got a few snaps against Indianapolis, eight carries for 36 yards, and that was his NFL debut just a few weeks ago against Indianapolis in this building, and now they're depending on him more and more as the weeks pass.
Undrafted rookie who had a nice career at Arkansas. 2nd and 1. Johnson. Nice hole! And can't keep his feet. And brought down. If he could have kept his footing, he might have scored.
He is so frustrated. It was one of those things where it looked like the 45-yard line just jumped up and tripped him as he breaks into the open right there. Just loses his balance, and it ends up being less of a big play than it already is. As we said, he's the guy who has not been playing in the NFL very long, a couple of weeks. And with Ben Tate nursing hurt ribs, they're asking a lot of him today.
Stumble allowed Alan Ball to wrap him up. But a big play for the Texans, who have not had much offense today. Johnson again, middle of that pile, powers forward inside the 40. Let's check in once again with JB and Boomer in New York for an update.
Steelers ask a lot and get a lot from Roethlisberger and Brown.
Cold and windy up in Cleveland, JB. Here comes Ben Roethlisberger, 41 yards, right on the money to Antonio Brown. Falls backwards into the end zone, 10-3, Pittsburgh.
You ever been tripped up by a yard marker there, Boom?
Not me, JB. You know, I'm fleet of foot.
All right, Bill McAtee, Steve Tasker.
Thank you, men. On 2nd down, Johnson cuts it back, and he's going to be just short of the first down marker. Alu made the stop.
Well, somebody gave the offensive line of the Texans a talking to between series. Obviously, they've switched their philosophy. Case Keenum struggling mightily in the passing game, and the Texans decide they're just going to run it right at Jacksonville and dare him to stop him. Brings up a third and about a half a yard, but this is a club now that's trying to make a physical statement here late in the first half.
Inside of 3 minutes remaining in the half, Ben Tate has checked back in. He's the motion man. They run the quarterback sneak. And Keenum gets the first down. And don't forget, coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 12. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
And I like Case Keenum keeping that as a quarterback sneak. It's a great play call on a very short yardage situation, and he's the kind of quarterback that has a knack for running it inside there on the sneak.
And the 2-minute warning. Tate. No running room on that right side. Alu was the first one there, so we have reached the 2-minute warning. Texans looking for some points here late in the half. Texans offense finally coming alive here late in the first half. Only 11 yards in their first 5 drives on 18 plays, but 49 yards, 6 plays on this drive, and they've been all running plays. So 2nd and 10 from the 31 for Houston. They trail 10-0. Empty backfield, they spread them out. And Keenum is going to have to take a timeout.
The play clock was completely done. They held the ball. Now they may reset it now.
Confusion for the Texans. Still 2 minutes left in the half. And we're back, and there was some confusion, but it resulted in a penalty against the Texans, so they march him back 5 yards. And that, when you lose 8 straight games, those are the kinds of things that happen to you. And that will not put Gary Kubiak in a better mood.
Well, he's not, and it was really confusing what happened. Texans had to take a timeout to keep from getting a delay of game, but in result was an illegal substitution call as well. So they did get a penalty, or they didn't get a penalty because they had to take the timeout. And you see, Gus Bradley says now there's no penalty for that, and that's really a confusing sequence there. As the officials had to conference in, there was a flag in the secondary, but it was clear that Case Keenum called the timeout well before the play clock had expired.
But they have spotted the ball back on the 31, which means it is 2nd and 10. Shorting through that. Empty backfield. Jaguars showing blitz, and here they come. And Keenum is sacked. Geno Hayes in the backfield in a hurry. He has been one of the bright spots in this Jacksonville defense. Added in free agency, played for Gus Bradley in Tampa as a rookie back in 2008.
Well, he's lined up over the tight end in the slot position, and Case Keenum thought he was in coverage. Obviously, he was not. Geno Hayes, a guy who played for Gus Bradley as a rookie in Tampa Bay, brought over here. And obviously Gus Bradley right now happy he's here.
So 3rd and 19 for the Texans. Keenum with time. Gets rid of it. Johnson. Brought down near the 30 by Posluszny.
Well, that gives them an opportunity now to stay in field goal range.
Not able to get out of bounds. Clock continues to run. Good concentration to haul it in. So we'll see Randy Bullock, and he has had a rough season. But last week, 3 of 3 against the Raiders, including a career long of 51 yards after going 0 for 4 and 50-yarders prior to that.
As a rookie last season, spent the entire year on injured reserve with a leg injury. And has kind of struggled to find himself here for the Texans this season.
Houston will take a timeout with 33 seconds left to go in the half. And the crowd voicing their displeasure. Geno Hayes with the big play had been troubled by an injury to his right knee, but out playing through it today.
You wonder why the crowd is booing. Mike Carey inadvertently announced a timeout for Tennessee, which is a sore spot for these Houston Texans fans. Tennessee franchise moving out of Houston so many years ago, there's still those who remember and have no love lost for that franchise. The last thing they want to do is be confused with it.
So a 49-yard field goal try for Randy Bullock, 5th-round pick out of Texas A&M a couple years ago. On its way. Plenty of leg and good. He nailed that one. And that gets the Texans on the board with 29 seconds left to go in the half.
Yeah, that's a great confidence boost for Randy Bullock. That was a great shot. You'll see here, this is not an easy kick. It's a long way, and it is off natural grass, and you see there the natural right-to-left movement of a right-footed kicker, soccer style, and he plays it exactly right, has plenty of leg. That is a very solid NFL kick.
Bullock, who's from Klein, Texas, here in the Houston area. Outstanding kicker in high school. He had a 54-yarder at one point. So a 9-play drive, the best of the game for the Texans. Results in a field goal. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 12, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. So after record-setting offensive performances from both teams last year. It's been a fairly quiet day on offense as they meet once again here in Week 12. Todman takes a knee, a yard deep in the end zone. Take a look at this Jacksonville defense, Steve. In the first half, they've been solid.
Their front four has really been getting after Keenan, and they've been playing well, knocking passes down, sacking, and forcing him to throw the football a little bit before he wanted to. I think that has been the real crucial element, is that front four and their ability to force Keenan either to throw the football before he's ready or to get out of the pocket before he's ready.
Averaging 5.3 yards a play coming in, well below that today. Henny. Sanders. Out across the 25 to the 26. Jacksonville with just one timeout remaining. Joe Mays made the stop. Will they run another play? No. Jaguars starting to make their way toward the locker room. Time will run out here in the first half, and it has been a half dominated by the visiting Jacksonville Jaguars as they lead it 10-3, and we'll be back with the Verizon Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. (10-3) Jacksonville ready to start quarter number 3 and what has been an entertaining football game so far. And let's take a look at the first half performance presented by Intel. And the big play of the game, the slant to Ace Sanders from Chad Henne. Good for 51 yards. That led to the game's only touchdown, a 1-yard touchdown run by Maurice Jones-Drew. And it's 10-3 Jacksonville. Bill McAtee back with Steve Tasker. And Steve, the Jacksonville defense has played awfully well.
They've gotten a great pass rush from their front four. They've managed to keep Case Keenum at bay, not letting him get any big plays. They've forced him out of the pocket. They've also sacked him a couple of times. That's been the real difference, their inability by Houston to throw the football.
Let's take a look at the first half numbers, and really dominated by the Jacksonville defense until that final drive, but still very much in favor of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look at passing yards, 141 to 4.
Yeah, and the difference also is time of possession. Jacksonville, for the first time and one of the few times this season, has been able to stay on the football field and convert third downs into first down and dominate the time of possession. That's enormous for a team that needs to do a lot of things right to win games.
So Maurice Jones-Drew, 6 carries for 50 yards in the first half. Texans will have the football to start the second half. Josh Scobie will kick it off. Scobie with a field goal. Keyshawn Martin back deep. He returned a punt 87 yards for a touchdown last week against Oakland. And here we go. Second half is underway. Martin will bring it out. And brought down at the 15-yard line. Third quarters have not been good for the Texans during this 8-game losing streak. They've scored only 2 second-half touchdowns. 7 of Case Keenum's 8 touchdown passes came in the first half, only 1 in the final 2 quarters. So the Texans will try to change that up.
And it's also a quarter when they've given up a lot of points. So it has been a disastrous quarter for the Texans the entire year on both sides of the ball.
Start from their own 15. Then Tate trying to get to the edge, cannot turn the corner and loses a couple of yards.
Well, that's Paul Posluszny showing off the speed. And all these linebackers for Jacksonville can really run very well. But Posluszny on that play showed, I mean, he gets out in front of this play to the outside. You see there, he's already there waiting on Tate. Jacksonville playing with more confidence than you would think a 1-9 team could bring to the table. Jacksonville playing like they're all over the Texans.
Posluszny, the leader of this defense. 2nd and 13. Keenum locks it up. That is caught by Ryan Griffin near midfield. And maybe that'll be the spark that'll ignite this Texans offense. At a couple of steps on Geno Hayes.
Right here, he's going to get loose as Hayes peels off in coverage, tries to stay with him, gets separation, and if this isn't made, this turns into a tie football game after one play, after 2 plays of the second half. Texans coming out, hitting the seam route.
Good for 37 yards. Short drop for Keenum. That's batted away. Sinderic Marks once again skies to knock it away.
He came into the game with 5 passes defense just like that, and he's had 2 today. Case Keenum, we spoke to him, he said the one thing he's had to learn is to find throwing lanes. He's not a tall guy. He's got to throw between defenders. In this particular instance, he has to try and throw it over the top of Marks and can't get it done.
Keenum goes about 6 feet. He was a 2-star quarterback by the scouting services coming out of Wiley High School in Abilene. Signed with Houston because they were the only school to offer him a scholarship. To the sideline, that's caught by Graham, who's been very quiet after a breakthrough game last week. Grotz makes the stop, first one there. Graham has been really productive since stepping in for the injured Owen Daniels. Huge week last week, 7 catches to set a franchise record for tight ends here in Houston. 136 yards and a touchdown against the Raiders.
I think the second half you look at, I think it's all focuses on that guy right there. Case Keenum's got to be better throwing the football than he was in the first half.
Dennis Johnson, the running back, and he gets it. Fighting his way for a first down. Out to the 40. The free agent rookie out of Arkansas, Puzlesny, made the tackle, but a first down for the Texans.
Well, as we saw late in the first half, when the Texans finally decided or finally got a chance to move the football effectively, they did it on the ground. And Johnson has turned into a guy that they've really turned to today and given him the football a lot. I think that's a surprise for Jacksonville's defense. He has not carried the football much, only been here a month, as we said in the first half.
Remains in the game on 1st and 10. Right side, cuts it back, a nice hole, and some nifty running by Johnson. Cyprian made the stop, but another Houston first down.
Well, Johnson is 5'7", about 193 pounds. He's not a big guy, but as you can see, he does the stretch play extremely well, stretches the defense, and then puts 1 foot in the ground. And you know who the Houston Texans know who can do that? That's Arian Foster. That is an Arian Foster type run. 1 cut, up the field, first down.
Good looking drive by the Texans. From the 27, play action. Just got rid of it. Out to Graham. And he gets it inside the 25, down close to the 23.
Well, this time Keenum does feel, because of the design of the play, he looks and sees the pressure coming off his left side and can get rid of the football. Because the pressure came from over there, they had to disguise it, and that leaves them very thin. And even though the pass took a long time to get outside to Graham, still had time to complete the pass.
Jaguars have been effective when bringing pressure against Keenum. Changing the play, again showing blitz. Come off the edge, they run it to the left side. And a tough yard inside as the Sinderic Marks made the stop.
You know, this has been one of the areas where Houston has really struggled. When you talk about their red zone problems and the reason they haven't been able to score points, it's this area of the football field. They just cannot punch the football in. Against the Raiders were 2 for 2 in the red zone. The Texans were 0 for 2 in the red zone. In a game they lost by less than a touchdown.
So 3rd and 4, trying to keep this drive going. In Jacksonville, here they come, all out blitz. Keenum, that's caught. Andre Johnson. And he fights his way down inside the 10-yard line, pushed out of bounds by Grotz after a gain of 15.
Well, Case Keenum may be a young quarterback, but he knows if Andre Johnson is by himself, find him. On the 3rd and 5, you see him drop back. He saw it pre-snap. He did a nice job of keeping his eyes in the middle of the field before he ran out immediately and hit Andre Johnson. Great job by Keenum recognizing what he had and getting the ball there quickly.
32 years old. He has averaged over 92 yards a game since turning 30. They hand it off to Johnson, who's down inside the 5.
Now, I don't want to gloss over what you just said. He's averaging 92 yards pass receiving per game, and he's over 30 years of age, Andre Johnson. He's still their brightest star. He's been an absolute Hall of Fame caliber player for them on and off the field. And despite the little spat he had with Matt Schaub last week, he has been stellar for this organization and continues to be.
He came in needing 34 yards for another 1,000-yard season. Johnson remains in the game. The lone setback on second down. They give it to him left side. He moves the pile down close to the
2. He moves the pile as much as a guy that weighs 190 pounds can move the pile against 300-pounders inside. Marks and Alu are in there. That's Pozlosny right in there as well. I mean, that's a tough pile to move when you're a small scat back like Johnson is. And you see Rick Dennison using all his weapons trying to punch this football in to tie this game.
Balanced drive. 83 yards, and now 3rd and goal from the 2. Johnson stays in the game. Graham, the motion man. 3 receivers to the left side. They throw it right, lofting it out to Hopkins, who was out of bounds. Tight coverage by Grutz. It was rookie on rookie.
And that's going to force the field goal. The fans aren't happy about it, but it's the right move. Hopkins, who's a really gifted wide receiver, goes up, makes the catch, but the throw just pushes him out of bounds. Not a great throw from Keenum. You got to give your guy a chance. It's hard for a young quarterback to throw it where it might be intercepted and trust your receiver not to let that happen. But he couldn't do it.
Bullock already has a 49-yarder. Adds that one. Closes the gap to 4 points. 10-6, Jacksonville. 83 yards on the 13 plays. It results in a 20-yard Bullock field goal. 10-6 Jacksonville. These two teams will play again in 11 days, a week from Thursday down in Jacksonville. 8:26 left to go in the 3rd. Todman bobbles it and able to stay in the end zone and takes the knee. And let's take a look at this week's edition of Task Force.
Well, we'll squeeze this in because of the red zone inefficiencies of Houston. You see the field changes, and in this philosophy of this team, only 2 players get to the end zone from inside the 10-yard line, and then Matt Schaub at quarterback stares down Andre Johnson in double coverage and tries to fit this in. The philosophy of the play really called for the play to be thrown short and then have your guy make a play to get in. Matt Schaub decides to go for it right there, and they end up losing the game on that last-ditch effort.
1st and 10, straight back for Henne, out into the flat from Maurice Jones-Drew. And a nice play on 1st down. They pick up another 1st down. Some tough running by the 3-time Pro Bowler.
And that's a Maurice Jones-Drew who didn't have to carry the load so much in the first half. Todman came in, gave him some reps, and then to come out. This is the difference between Todman and Maurice Jones-Drew. He takes the hit, takes another, and then drags the guy into a 3rd hit. And he doesn't mind contact, and he never has.
13 yards on the catch and run. Fresh set of downs for Jacksonville. Left side, Jones-Drew. Tripped up. Dives forward for a yard or 2. Tackled by J.J. Watt. Tomorrow on Mike and Molly, get ready for a Thanksgiving showdown. Melissa McCarthy and Billy Gardell star in a new episode of the hit comedy Mike and Molly. Tomorrow at 9, 8 Central, only CBS. Maurice Jones-Drew, 7 carries now for 52 yards and a touchdown. Todman is checked in on 2nd and 8. Here they're calling the blitz. Henne able to get free and slides down at about the 40. Again, it was Whitney merciless with the pressure.
And then when he sees the six-man rush, he knows it's going to be very fast to get out of there. He pulls it down to median. It's the right play in that situation. Sharpton just misses him. 51 right there, just misses the arm tackle, and Henny does the right thing and then slides down. A little bit of contact, even though the quarterback slid feet first. Usually, you don't get away with that.
Sharpton flushed him from the pocket. Merciless made the stop. So 3rd and 3 for the Jaguars. They lead at 10-6. And Jacksonville will take a timeout. And he saw something that he didn't like. 6:27 left to go in the third. 10-6 Jaguars.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Chase Freedom. Get your cash back. And by AT&T. Rethink possible.
And we're back, and Steve, let's see if we can pick up what led to the timeout by Jacksonville.
Well, what it was, they have a bunch formation here, and that brings all these defenders into the picture, and Chad Henne doesn't know which of these guys are going to rush or if they're going to drop into coverage, and he doesn't know which protection to call against that front. So he's going to see Brad Meester pointing to a guy, and then all of a sudden it's just not going to work out.
So they regroup, and from the 40 again, it's 3rd and 3, an empty backfield. 3 receivers to the right. Henne fires. That's caught by Shorts. And he'll have the first down near the 45.
And those are the type of critical downs that Jacksonville has not been successful on most of the time, and yet the Texans as well. This is the kind of play that erodes their ability to win games. They can't get that offense off the field. As good a defense as they play, sometimes they go into a swoon. A lot of times in the third quarter this year.
1st and 10. Todman able to keep his feet. And instead of a 1 or 2 yard loss, he gains 3. Merciless made the stop. And once again, let's check in with the guys in New York. Hey, Boomer.
Hey, Bill, good afternoon. How about the San Diego Chargers? Now, with Tom Ali and Justin Houston hurt, very little pass rush. And how about Phillip Rivers standing in the pocket? He's going to find Eddie Royal all the way down the field. This is going to be a 54-yard completion inside the 20, going to lead to a Ryan Matthews 1-yard touchdown run. 17-14 San Diego. Back to you.
2nd and 7 here in Houston, and we have a marker down, a couple of them, at the 45-yard line. Maurice Jones-Drew stopped by J.J. Watt.
Holding, offense number 78. 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
They call it on the left tackle, Cameron Bradfield. Bradfield starting at left tackle with Luke Jokel out for the season, and Eugene Monroe traded to the Ravens.
He did have 12 starts last year, did Bradfield. So he's not unfamiliar with it. You don't want to put somebody inexperienced on the left side of your line, despite the fact that they traded away Eugene Monroe as a 1st-round draft pick. You got to have a guy to plug in there. And then they lost Jokel, and Bradfield is the last guy standing. And this one he's done pretty well.
They lost Jokel just a few days later. So 3rd and 17, Henne able to get rid of it. That's caught by Shorts. And Shorts gets it out to the 47-yard line before he's pushed out of bounds, a gain of 9.
And that's the right philosophy for Jacksonville. They're not trying to pick up a 3rd and long. They're trying to set themselves up, or a 2nd and long. They're trying to set themselves up for a 3rd and medium, which is what a 3rd and 8 is. That gives them half the yardage they needed back, so now it gives them a higher percentage of opportunity to stay on the field right here.
6 catches for Cecil Shorts for 49 yards. 3rd and 8. Henne with time. Forsett, the former Texan, gives Jacksonville another 1st down.
Well, the Texans declared early that they were going to be man coverage underneath with 2 deep safeties, dropping a lot of guys into coverage. Sharpton is going to be manned up and just gets beat on the quick circle route for the quick 1st down. What a great completion, quick release by Henne, and that's been so crucial as we've seen. As Henne can get the ball out of his hand, he's got to have an option, and he did.
Forsett spent last season playing here in Houston. Oh, that's almost picked off. Henne was very lucky that DJ Swearinger, the rookie out of South Carolina, didn't pick that off and return it for a touchdown.
Wade Phillips, defensive coordinator, told me he has become a very good football player, and that's proof of it. You got to be a really confident defensive back to attempt to make that play right there. That is a guy who's been thinking about making that play all week.
Getting a chance to play early. Second round pick out of South Carolina. We've got a late flag.
Jacksonville 12-minute huddle. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So it's an early flag. 12 men in the huddle, and that has Gus Bradley shaking his head, hands on his hips.
And like as in the first half, they could have elected. You can see that Henne looks in there and says, "Hey, wait a minute!" And it's funny, you got all those guys in there. You know right away when you step in, somebody's not supposed to be there.
And Ace Sanders was trying to get to the sideline, but too late. So 2nd and 15. Henne. Codman does a nice job to bring that in and gets it back to the original line of scrimmage. Jared Crick made the stop.
That is a response to the Texans pass rush. They had to get this ball out. The screens and draws. As you see, Henne had to sidearm that around, trying to get it around that defensive front. Finds his guy and sets up the 3rd and 10.
5 minutes on this drive. 10th play upcoming, but it's covered just 36 yards so far. 3rd and 10. Henne, they pick up the blitz. Incomplete. Maurice Jones-Drew unable to bring it in. But a flag is down.
Henne got hit
in the Jacksonville backfield.
Oh, it could be a hold as well.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 94. Helmet-to-helmet contact, 15 yards, automatic.
They call it on Antonio Smith.
That is an enormous penalty right in front, headed right toward Henne. Oh, that's a penalty. He ducked his head and had Chad Henne's face mask. You see there, that's old school football that is no longer allowed in the National Football League.
And we were visiting with the Houston Texans. This is a team that's ranked number 1 in the league in defense, 8th on offense, and you just can't figure out why they've lost 8 in a row. It's plays like that they've struggled with all season. Just 2 or 3 plays during the course of a game that have gone against the Texans. Plays they were able to make in the past and mistakes they didn't make in the past. And that's why they come in on this franchise record 8-game losing streak.
And both these clubs who have been struggling to win games, one of the things that they've both done is turn the football over entirely too much, and neither has done that today, which is why we're in a 4-point ball game deep in the 3rd quarter.
2nd and 11 for Jacksonville. Empty backfield. And movement on the right side before the snap.
Call start. Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty is still second down.
Uche Nwaneri called for moving early. Once again, let's check in New York for an update.
Pittsburgh D. Jason Campbell, look out! Here comes Ryan Clark off the side to blitz. You got to get rid of the football, son. Who picks up the ball? Will Allen for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Gets it all the way down inside the 5-yard line. Emmanuel Sanders takes it in from there. 4-yard touchdown reception. 23. Pittsburgh over Cleveland.
Bill and Steve.
Nice, guys. An important game for both those teams, trying to put together a run here in the second half of the season. Henne guns it, and that is caught by Clay Harbor. Harbor brought down at about the 27.
Well, now we get another 3rd and medium. It gets them inside 3rd and 10. It gives them the Jaguars. They've tried screen passes. Their philosophy has been to throw the football short of the 1st down marker and let their players make a play. You can bet the Texans are thinking about that. They're going to be very physical on the outside, I would imagine, with these receivers and try and stop them from getting off the line of scrimmage.
Henne has been solid on this drive. 6 of 7. Loses the football. scramble for it, but I think Henne was able to get it back.
Yeah, that's when the ball's on the ground, you're not going to pick it up clean in the pocket. Henne got it, but he's going to get contested. He was trying to go out to his right. There was off coverage. Man, you see, looks down the field, then goes quickly out there, and then they just coughed the ball up. That's just a fumble.
I think you saw J.J. Watt jumping in the air, tried to reload, and then just lost the handle.
You're right. J.J. Watt was about 4 feet in the air, and he's like, I think, 8.5 feet tall with his cleats and helmet on.
Scobie on to try a 49-yarder on 4th and 13. And that is blocked. KO. And a big play for the Houston Texans.
Smart play by KO. A block kick that goes past the line of scrimmage is just like a punt. KO can pick it up and return it. Got extra yardage for the Texans and a lot of momentum.
And guess who? J.J. Watt got a hand on it. J.J. Watt, such a disruptive force. Second blocked field goal in the last 4 games. Gives the Texans the football after a 25-yard return just into Jacksonville territory near midfield. Formation. Johnson, who's had a solid game. Russell Allen made the stop, and let's take another look at the block.
Well, one of the reasons I like it, J.J. Watt, he's easy to find on film. You see his armband right there, that brace that he wears. You can find him down in that crowd. He gets penetration, just jumps up, gets both hands up, which is crucial. You see so many times a guy will stick one arm up. Watt, smart enough, gets 2 hands up, and indeed the ball goes almost right between them. Great technique, great ability, and great effort.
2nd and 8. Texans trying to take advantage of the big play. And that is caught over the middle. Case Keenum able to get it out. Garrett Graham with the catch. So that'll be the end of the 3rd quarter. Jacksonville leads at 10-6. We'll return to Houston after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. The Texans trying to take advantage of good field position after the blocked field goal attempt. Facing a 3rd and 1. Up the middle. Johnson, who is hammered. And let's see where they spot it. Geno Hayes made the stop.
Not a great spot for the Texans after that run up inside. They may have to measure this. Although, yeah, they're not going to measure it at all. They didn't give it to him, and the Texans are going to go for it, and that is definitely the right call. We've seen Case Keenum already make a quarterback sneak conversion. You see here as Johnson comes in. Did he make it past that marker? No, that's a pretty good spot.
Geno Hayes with another outstanding performance today. He has been a real factor for the Jacksonville Jaguar defense. 4th and inches. Right side. Johnson able to fall forward, and let's see again where they spot it.
Great second effort.
Keenum trying to get a good look at it down the line, and they will measure.
We'll see. Looked at first, there's Puz Lusney, meets him in the backfield, but then he turns his back, and there it looks like he's well past the line to gain. Where is he down? He falls backwards. That's a great effort. I think this is going to turn into a first down, although the spot doesn't look as confident as I sound. They didn't get it. I challenge that right now. Yeah, that's the right call. Texans are challenging it right now, and I think it's the right call. I think Johnson did get that first down, although it may be impossible to get definitive video evidence that he did. So it may come back and say this call stands. I doubt that they'll come back and say the call is confirmed.
The ruling on the field is a runner short of the line to gain is being challenged by Houston.
I think this is a good challenge.
Short by about an inch officially. We'll take another look at it. Timeout on the field.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by Kelley Blue Book. Everything you need to make a smart new car decision is at kbb.com.
And we're back and waiting the verdict from Mike Carey after the challenge. Call stands. It will go over on downs to Jacksonville.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Houston will be charged with their first team timeout. First down, Jacksonville.
Solid defensive stand by the Jacksonville Jaguars after the blocked field goal.
The replays were inconclusive at best. Johnson cuts it in, gets met in the backfield, and they try to pull him to the ground. And now there, you can't see where the ball is because he had it at his waist. And then, but no question, his head and shoulders are above the line to gain, but the ball never reached there before his body was down.
Ended up about an inch short, so Jacksonville takes over. First and 10, just shy of their own 40-yard line. Denard Robinson taking the direct snap. They'll run the Wildcat. Former quarterback at Michigan. Fakes it to Henne, and he's going to go deep. And that was intended for Cecil Shorts in front of Jonathan Joseph. He bobbled it and could not bring it in, so an incomplete pass.
Joseph did a nice job reaching through the arms of Shorts from behind. Joseph, a true shutdown corner, going man-to-man, watches, and he goes in motion, makes the play fake. And that's one of the reasons that Wildcat's not going to take off with a quarterback doing that. Line him up.
The second and 10. Jones drew. Hole on the left side. Out near the 45. Merciless made the stop.
You saw Denard let it go, and there's Joseph right where he needed to be. Well, they were close, and Joseph was touching and didn't gain an advantage. That's a good no call by the officials. Joseph doing a nice job, tight coverage on Shorts.
3rd and 5 for Jacksonville. They lead by 4, 10-6. From the gun, Henne. They pick up the blitz, slings it incomplete. Off the hands of Cecil Shorts, and the Jaguars will have to punt.
Yeah, this is a play Cecil Shorts really needs to make. He battles for the football, but Joseph once again, the ball gets in on him. Joseph knocks that away as well, and I'll tell you, the last 2 series, the star players for the Texans have made the difference. J.J. Watt on the blocked field goal and Jonathan Joseph on the pass defense.
So Anger on the punt once again, standing back at his own 30. Here's Sean Martin at the Texans 10. And he'll have some running room. Tries to cut it back and swarmed under at the 25. Here's Keenum after that 35-yard punt and 6-yard return. Back out on the field. The Houston Texans down by 4, trying to snap a franchise record 8-game losing streak. Take over 1st and 10 from their own 25. Just under 13 minutes left to play in regulation. Ben Tate back in the game at running back. Graham, the motion man. Play action for Keenum, a good fake. Andre Johnson, and that is incomplete. Andre unable to bring it in. That'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Once again, Keenum trying to play fake, doesn't really fool the defense, as sooner or later they're going to get there. Keenum lets it go. Andre Johnson, after the motion by Graham, comes open. And that ball's just a little high. Looks like he couldn't find it until late until it almost got to him. He couldn't get his hands up in time. That's a catch I think Andre Johnson would like to have back.
Only one catch for Andre Johnson today for 15 yards. Keenan will throw again. Center of the field to Tate. Dropped immediately by Puzlesny and Allen. And once again, let's check in with JB and Boomer in New York for an update.
Baltimore welcoming Reed back.
Well, the Houston Texan fans have seen a lot of this year, and this is Joe Flacco launching the ball right down the middle of the field. 66-yard to Jacoby Jones, right over number 22. That's Ed Reed right there, the safety that was picked up by the Jets a couple weeks ago. Baltimore leads 19-3.
All right, back to Bill.
All right, guys, the Ravens had that tough loss last week in overtime against the Bears. They had lost 4 of their last 5, trying to get back into the win column. Keenum. Graham all alone, left side. But he's going to be short of a first down. Mike Harris made the stop.
Once again, the Texans go 3 and out. Can't stay on the football field, giving the football back to Jacksonville, putting more pressure on their defense, and that guy right there. Now, this is the defense is looking up with 11 and a half minutes to go. They've given up 10 points, has Houston. And they're looking for some help from their offense.
Good high punt. Sanders feels it at the 13. Trying to get to the outside. Nice open field tackle as he's brought down at about the 23 by Greg Jones. 53-yard punt, 11-yard return. Back in Houston, Jacksonville scored on their very first possession. The only touchdown of the game so far. 11-11 left to play in regulation. Jones drew, bursts through, and fights his way for a first down. Swearinger made the stop, and tonight on 60 Minutes, Whitey Bulger was public enemy number 1 and on the run for 16 years. So how did the FBI find him? Find out yourself only on 60 Minutes tonight. So first down for Jacksonville. Inside of 11 minutes remaining, it's a 4-point game. Jones drew a nice hole up the middle. And close to midfield. Shiloh Kao made the stop after a gain of 13.
Well, this is so well blocked up front. Shiloh Kao is going to come from back here. This is going to spread as though Maurice Jones-Drew was a biblical figure. I mean, look at this. It's like the whole thing came apart for the Texans. Goodness gracious, it's like he had a force field around him.
Mojo gets a breather. Todman gets the football up the middle. Just into Houston territory. Maurice Jones-Drew, 10 carries for 82 yards. Looking for his first 100-yard performance of the season.
It's really time to start tipping your hat to the Jacksonville Jaguars and the game plan they're executing today. Their offense is playing as well as it has all season. A team that has lost 9 games this season by double digits. They're still, with Gus Bradley, playing as positive and as confidently as they were if they were 9-1.
They're spotted right at midfield. Ace Sanders in the backfield with Henne. Stands in, fires. That's caught by Cecil Shorts, and it's going to be another Jacksonville first down. Pushed out of bounds by Jonathan Joseph.
Shorts got great separation from Joseph on that play. He convinced him that he was going to go deep. Joseph turned his hips, and just as he did, Shorts put his foot in the ground, and the ball was already in the air behind him. He went and got it. Great execution.
Up-tempo on offense. Todman with a nice hole once again. An impressive drive from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Harris made the stop.
And this must be a breath of fresh air for the Jacksonville defense. Usually they're the team with their defense staying on the football field, getting worn down at the end of the game, and now they're turning the tables on the Texans. The time of possession is clearly in Jacksonville's favor, and they continue to grind it.
Second down. Jones-Drew back in the game. Tough yard inside.
I think the tempo of this drive has really been the difference in a time when a team that you'd think is 1-9, desperate to win a game, would start to pull the sails in. Now they've gone up tempo, Snapped the ball very quickly. Henne dropping back and getting rid of the football very quick. Look at J.J. Watt. He is like, he's sucking wind. He is beat. They have been on the football field a long time today, and it's starting to wear down even the great ones.
3rd and a long 2. Empty backfield. Henne, here they come, the blitz gets rid of it, and that is caught by Maurice Jones-Drew, and there is a marker down.
In the backfield. The game this tight, every call becomes so critical. Everybody's just waiting to see what might
hands
carry.
to the face. Offense number 63, 10-yard penalty, still throw down.
They call that on the veteran Brad Meester. 36-year-old.
Brad Meester.
He has played for all 5 head coaches in Jacksonville franchise history.
Working there up inside against Earl Mitchell. He gets his hand up high right there, up into the throat area. And that's the penalty.
So that takes a first down off the board. 3rd and 12 for Jacksonville. Empty backfield. Texans showing blitz.
Play was stopped.
And a whistle before the snap. Jacksonville takes a timeout. 7:33 left in the 4th.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Toyota Care. Scheduled maintenance, no cost. Jared, the Gallery of Jewelry, with 5 times the selection of ordinary jewelry stores. And by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
3rd and long for Jacksonville. They keep it on the ground. Todman, and he is wrestled down at about the original line of scrimmage. Swearinger was the first one there.
Well, there's no question. They're not trying to pick it up. They're trying to get into a better field goal position and come away with 3 points on it. And that penalty was really the crusher. Brings up a 4th and 10. It's going to be a 53-yard field goal for Scobie, more within his range. The 3-yard gain was huge. That was going to be a 56er.
Had a 49-yard attempt blocked by J.J. Watt earlier. From 53 yards. Got it. Josh Scobie makes it a 7-point game with 6:44 left to go in the 4th. 53 yards on the field goal by Josh Scobie. Lead play drive, 6:44 remaining in regulation. 13-6 Jacksonville. Martin from 2 yards deep in the end zone brings it out. And upended short of the 15-yard line, but we've got a flag down, so we'll check the penalty. to 6, Jacksonville.
Holding, receiving team number 35 during the return. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Call it on Eddie Pleasant. Backup safety. Well, Thanksgiving Day, the NFL on CBS carries on a holiday tradition as the Raiders tangle with Tony Romo and the Cowboys. It all begins with JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher on a special holiday edition of the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. So they moved the Texans back, and it will be a long field trailing by 7. Keenan, they try to set up the screen. They get it to Tate. Nifty moves and out to the 13. Postlesny made the tackle.
Well, this is a nod to the pass rush of the Jacksonville Jaguars. throwing the screen pass, letting them come up the field, and letting Keenum throw it right behind him to Tate. Tate doing a nice job evading, getting into a 2nd and 4 situation.
Andre Branch has done a terrific job pressuring the passer today. Caught by Tate, flashing across the middle. And he'll have a Texan first down at the 20, plus Leslie made the stop.
Yeah, they did a nice job protecting Keenum on that one. Stood in the pocket and delivered the throw, let that play develop. He has not had much time in the pocket, has Keenum. No question he's a good enough athlete to extend a play. But the pass rush at Jacksonville has been better today than it's been at any point this season.
Clock continues to run. Nearing the 5.5-minute mark. 1st and 10 for the Texans. Keenum fires, intercepted, and dropped. Jonathan Cyprien had it, but lost it.
That would have been his first NFL interception. Should have been, could have been, would have been. But right there, great job by Graham just to get a finger on it. Cyprien comes down with it just as he's starting to put away. There's Graham, just reaches out to reach it, push it away, and it ends up on the ground. And that's a throw Keenum can't make.
So the Texans avoid the costly turnover. Here comes Jacksonville on the blitz. Keenum gets rid of it. Here Posey makes the catch out at the 25-yard line. Harris made the tackle.
Now you've got it, and I think with 5:08, 5 minutes to go in this game, and a touchdown down, this is a big touchdown. The Houston Texans have done nothing offensively. Got to stay on the football field. A 3rd down, I think this is absolutely 4-down territory. Forget with your defense, put them back out there, but your offense has got to stay on the field.
3rd and 5 for Houston. Tate in the backfield with Keenum. Steps up. Incomplete. Threw it behind Hopkins, the rookie. And that'll bring up 4th down.
Well, Hopkins comes out of this break and comes open, but Keenum throws it so early, he throws it to the wrong spot. Watch as he pushes Grotz up the sideline, comes back. You see where the ball should have been, back in here.
And that was not a very good series for the Houston Texans. Leckler to Sanders from the 24. And no more.
And
a 51-yard punt. 4:24 left to go in the 4th.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Sonos, the wireless hi-fi system. And by Subway. Try the new Subway Sriracha Steak Melt today. Subway, be bold, eat fresh.
Back in Houston, the Jaguars trying to protect a 7-point lead. Maurice Jones-Drew off right tackle, picks up a yard or so. Brooks Reed made the stop.
Well, this is classic 4-minute offense territory for Jacksonville. What that means is they'll milk the play clock. They'll go all the way down to 0 on the play clock before they snap it. And they will stay inbounds on all completed passes and all running plays. And they will attempt to stay on the field with first downs. Now, that doesn't mean they'll go conservative and not throw the football at all. But you can bet they won't take low percentage throws down the field.
Texans have 2 timeouts remaining. 2nd and 9. Henny will throw it. Out to Shorts. Pushed out of bounds. 3 yards shy of the first down.
And even there, Cecil Shorts is, you got to get your knee on the ground. If you're not going to get the first down, fold up and stay in bounds. You see, takes the inside release, and that's an interesting route combination there as he runs in and bumps into Ace Sanders. But the out of bounds is a mistake.
Stops the clock with 3:41 left to play in the 4th. 3rd and 3. Huge play for the Texan defense. Showing blitz. Here they come. Henny gets rid of it, and that is caught by Kerry Taylor.
That means now Houston's timeouts, the two you see there at the top of your screen, are coming into play. And they'll take one immediately.
Big play on third down to keep the football for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lead by 7.
Of how it is with Kerry Taylor making that play. Kerry Taylor, you look at the roster of Jacksonville.
Don't forget, coming up on the Subway postgame show, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 12. All coming up on the Subway postgame show. Jaguars very thin at wide receiver. Mike Brown inactive. Stephen Burton has been injured for the last few weeks. And of course, Justin Blackmon suspended indefinitely. So Kerry Taylor, signed from the Arizona practice squad earlier this month, has played a lot. Taylor in motion. Jones Drew fights his way close to the 40. And the Texans will take another timeout. Their last timeout of the game. 3:26 left to go.
We talked about Gus Bradley, his ability to stay positive. Chad Henne's been a part of that. Guys, he's really done a nice job standing in the pocket in the face of a very good Texans rush, delivering the ball all over the football field. He had 10 different receivers last week, continues to throw it to anybody who's open, and this is the key. You see, this is the key. Third down, 10 of 13 with 7 first downs. That's tremendous, and that's a tremendous improvement from where they've been.
He's done a good job protecting the football so far. 23 of 32 for 239 yards and no interceptions. 2nd and 10. Texans out of timeouts. Todman trying to find some running room on that left side, out across the 40, close to the 41. Sharpton made the stop.
Now this brings up a 3rd and 9 once again for Jacksonville. It'll be interesting to see as Todman walks off the field. They're going to bring on another personnel grouping. They're leaving the fullback Tafoa on the field, along with, okay, now they bring Taylor in. This is, that's not a pass catcher right there. As we said in the open, the crucial thing is if they do decide to throw it, they've got to protect Henne.
They have to get right to midfield for a first down. Jones Drew. No running room.
That gets it to the 2-minute warning.
J.J. Watt was there to meet him. It'll bring up 4th down. The Texans will have a chance. But they'll have to do it with no timeouts. And they will run the clock down to the 2-minute warning. So we have reached the 2-minute warning. The Houston Texans, one more chance coming up. Brian Anger on to punt it away on 4th and 9. Keyshawn Martin back deep for the Texans, who are out of timeouts. Wow. Good high punt. Martin will let it go into the end zone, and it does just. And they will bring it out to the 20. A 59-yard punt. The Jags ended their 10-game road losing streak 2 weeks ago at Tennessee. Today they're trying for their first back-to-back wins on the road in more than 5 years. Jack Del Rio was the head coach. They won back-to-back games away from Jacksonville in weeks 3 and 6 back in 2008, 24-17 over the Broncos. But it has been a long time. No timeouts remaining, 150 left to go in regulation. Keenum to Graham. Dropped at the 26 by Puzzlesny.
And that is exactly what the Jacksonville Jaguars are fine with the Texans doing. As the clock continues to tick down, they'll give them the field if they wanted to let the clock run.
It's rhythm again, center of the field, and incomplete. Graham could not bring it in.
At this point, what the Texans have done in the past and what we've seen them do, they look for the home run hitter, and there's only one guy on their roster who is that. He's on the field right now. It's Andre Johnson. But the guy like Case Keenum, who is not adept at running the two-minute offense, hasn't done it very much. If you're a boxer, this guy needs a one-punch knockout. And this is the guy he's got to look for.
Andre Johnson with just one catch for 15 yards today. Keenum to Andre Johnson. And that is huge, a first down as they quickly get up to the line of scrimmage. A first down for the Texans, 21 yards on the pass play to Andre Johnson.
They'll continue to try to move the ball. They won't spike it.
Underneath, Keyshawn Martin stretches to the 40, and that's another first down for the Texans.
Now they'll spike it and stop the clock and take a breath.
And they do just that. 51 seconds left to go in regulation. Don't forget, coming up with the Subway postgame show, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from this busy Week 12. That's all coming up on the Subway postgame show.
And the Jacksonville Jaguars obviously giving up some things they weren't giving up the entire game, and now well, you can't give them too much. I understand you want to keep the clock running, but Jacksonville's got to tighten up on the underneath coverage.
They're rushing 4. Empty backfield. Keenum fires. And incomplete. Was trying to hit the rookie, DeAndre Hopkins, but a little too high.
That's a play Hopkins has got to pull in. He turns his shoulders, and he just misjudges that football. That was not a bad throw. You got to make that catch. That is an absolute missed play that should have been made. Keenum put that ball right in there. Hopkins short-armed it for some reason as though he couldn't pick it up.
Stops the clock with 45 seconds left. 3rd and 10. Again, Jacksonville stunts with 4. Keenum. And that is intercepted. Keyshawn Martin juggled the football and intercepted by Ryan Davis. Ryan Davis, who was brought up a couple weeks ago from the practice squad.
You said Keyshawn Martin's going to have this ball come in right behind, just kind of a little behind him. He tries to pull it in right there, bobbles it, and what a great play by Davis. Fantastic hands and hand-eye coordination to get possession of that football. The bobble, and that right there is the story of the Houston Texans 2013 season. A chance to win the game late and lost 9 in a row.
As the devastation continues in this lost season for the Houston Texans, adding to their franchise record a 9th consecutive loss.
2 plays in a row. Case Keenum put the ball in play right where it needed to be, and 2 young receivers couldn't make the play.
And for the second time in 3 weeks, the Jacksonville Jaguars have won. Winning back-to-back games on the road for the first time in 5 years. Clock ticking down, 13-6, Jacksonville. So the Jaguars win it. For Steve Tasker, Bill McAtee saying so long from Houston. Coming up, it's the Subway postgame show. We'll take you to New York for all the scores and highlights from Week 12. That's coming up right after this. The Jaguars win it. Another tough loss for the Texans, 13-6. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.